Hi, my name is Rohit, and today I'm going to speak about hurt. Why love hurts? In fact, why do we get hurt? What is the basis behind our hurt and how you can get over it quickly? Stay tuned. Welcome back, and I'm going to be having lots of amazing inputs, insights, tools, tricks, techniques for you in how to be able to manage your thoughts, how to manage your mind, how to manage your emotions, how to understand life, love, God, and all these incredible subjects that are passionate for me, and I hope they are for you as well. So let's get started with the main topic today. Why does love hurt? Now, I don't know if you've been hurt in love, but I certainly have, and I think most of us have been there. Most of us have had hurt in some form or another, either because of a friend, a lover, because of a parent, because of work, business, whatever else it is. Somehow hurt and pain are inevitable in our lives. And you may have wondered, what can you do about it? How can you avoid getting hurt? Sometimes the world begins to feel like a really scary place. And no matter how much you try to be safe, no matter how many ways in which you try to insulate yourself, whether that is by looking good, or whether it is by making lots of money, or whether it is by having security, safety, a husband, children, whatever it is you're trying to do to insulate yourself from hurt, hurt keeps following you wherever you go. Now, if you really stop and look at what causes us to get hurt, you might come up with things like, I expected you to do something, or I thought you were going to do this, or you should have done that. Now, that's a big word, by the way, should. If you stop and look at the areas where you get hurt, there's probably a should in there. There's probably a should not in there. You should not have done that, or you should have done that. And that's something we've heard from our parents that we now pass on to our kids, we pass on to our partners, we pass on to our friends. We get hurt when they do the things that we don't think they should do, and when they don't do the things we think they should do. So how do you change that? I mean, we all have these ideas of what life is supposed to be like, and what a good friend looks like, what a good lover looks like, what a good partner looks like, what a good child looks like, and our expectations are endless. And yet our expectations are the ones and the very things that hurt us. So we seem to be stuck in a catch-22. You can't do without them, and you can't do with them. So where are we going to go? It seems like we're stuck. And people have been talking about this for ages, psychologists, spiritual teachers, religious people. We seem to get stuck. What if you could look at things from a different perspective? Now, there was something that I came across as a kid. It was in something called Aesop's Fables. I don't know if you've ever heard those, but in Aesop's Fables, there's a story about 3 blind men and an elephant. And these 3 blind men come across an elephant, and one of them catches the leg of the elephant, and he says, "Oh, it's like a tree." The other one catches the trunk of the elephant and says, "Oh, really, it's like a snake." And one of them catches his tail and says, "No, it's like a broom." So we all look at things differently. We have our own perspective on things, our own ideas of what should and should not happen. So for example, if you like your house to be kept clean, but your children or your partner doesn't have that same priority, you might find that they just throw things around. They just do whatever they feel like doing. And you're left picking up the pieces and hassled and upset and angry and afraid and worked up, and you tell them again and again, and they just don't seem to change. I remember coming across a little story in Byron Katie where she talks about her kids being that way, throwing things all over the place. And then at some point, she said, "You know what? This isn't changing. I've been trying for years to get them to put their socks and shoes away when they come home, but they just don't do it. Who's the one that actually wants this to happen? Me. So you know what? I'm just going to do it from now on. I'm just going to put those socks and shoes away, and I'm going to stop being so hassled and angry and upset." And for about a year, she kept doing it. And then interestingly enough, the kids turned around and started doing it themselves. Sometimes our expectations from people are the very thing they resent in us, and the things that they rebel from and don't want to do just because we're getting upset with them. Let's take up another thing, love. I've heard this incredible song from way back in the 70s, Love Hurts. It was like an anthem for so many people. Love hurts. And does love really hurt? Or is it our expectations from love? So let's take a look at some of what those expectations are. We have an idea that someone is going to, be our soulmate and is going to understand us and see us and love us. And these things are incredibly true. They can be so. But unfortunately, most of the time, they don't happen. In the beginning, they might happen. A person might be super interested in you, might go about, adoring everything about you, seeing the best in you, overlooking your faults. And you might expect that to last. And then finally you're with them, and then you realize, hey, they're not doing that anymore. That was so great. But now all you see are my faults. Now all you see are the things that are wrong with me. Because our idea is that there's a certain way love should be. But what if love was completely different than we thought? Love was a place where we came to be able to have our inner woundings, our flaws exposed. And then those flaws would be seen by the other person. And what if that other person, after seeing them, instead of judging and criticizing us, would help us accept our flaws, talk about them certainly, look at ways in which they could improve, and maybe some things can't be improved. They're just how you are. I know for myself, I tend to be sometimes caught up in my own world. I'm busy with what I'm doing, and it can sometimes feel like I'm neglecting someone or ignoring them. But I'm not. It's just I tend to get really focused, and that's my strength and that's my flaw. And I'm sure you have your strengths and your flaws, and sometimes they're the same thing. So what if we could understand each other as we are rather than as we would like each other to be? How different would that be? If we would look at each other and say, oh, so that's what you do. That's how you feel loved. That's what makes you tick. That's your peculiarity, your quirk, your special thing, and I'm going to respect that because that's who you are. Sometimes we get upset with people, for example, if they're late. We're supposed to go somewhere, and you get upset. I remember myself getting that way with someone, and she liked to dress up and take time over it, and it was a whole ritual, and I couldn't appreciate that. And it was my bad because I had to stop myself and say, look, you like this person. And this is how this person is. This is what they like to do. This is their passion. So work around it. Create a system that you can accept this person as they are without trying to make them as you are. Maybe this is not what you would do. This is what they do. So that's where we begin to respect each other. That's where we begin to accept each other. And that's where we begin to love each other. As for the other things that are attributed to love, when we say love hurts, those might be things like betrayal. And we say, oh, this person betrayed me. And this person, well, what really happened? Once again, it's probably that they did something that you or your society or your world or your belief system thinks that they should not have done. And yeah, that's really controversial, but excuse me, let's bring it down to the level of our mind. Our mind has these preset ideas, and we are slaves of those preset ideas. But what if you could be in control of those ideas? See, actually what's happening is we're trying to control the world. But how about instead of trying to control the world and the people in it, that we start controlling the way our mind functions. We start controlling its way of looking at things, and we start directing it and telling it, hey buddy, you don't get to tell me this stuff. I choose to accept people as they are. I choose to accept myself as I am, with all my quirks, with all my flaws, and it's okay. It's perfectly okay. If this person has chosen to do something that I don't like, it hurts me, good, then I need to take responsibility for my hurt. That's my idea of what should and should not happen. Now, once I get over that, I can stop and actually talk to that person and say, well, why did you do what you did? Whether that was flirting with someone, whether it was leaving me or whatever else it might be, I need to be able to stop and ask them, what happened? Did we somehow stop connecting? Did we somehow stop caring? Did we somehow lose track of each other? Did we stop communicating? Where did that happen? How did it happen? What can we do to change that? Did we somewhere harden our hearts? Did we somewhere stop looking at each other with eyes of love the way we used to when we first met? And then when you begin to take stock of what happened and what you can do to change it, you become creative. You become curious. It's incredible to have a curious mind, to look at things from different perspectives, to shift the way we look at things. I remember it was Wayne Dyer who said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Maybe it's possible that when we change our outlook on love, relationships, life, and people, and ourselves, we might begin to be able to have a more compassionate and loving place in the world where we can all thrive without all the upsets and triggers that we get into. I'm sure we'll still have them, but we'll take responsibility for them, and we'll look inward at the programming within us that causes us to react that way. Have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Lots of love.